All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this special installment of our first interview through Tampa E-Sports. I am, as you know, Shinigami, streaming here on the Tampa E-Sports channel, joined by Shadow over there in the lower right corner for everybody, and RuFF right there, center mid, the topic of tonight's show. RuFF, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick and tell people what you're about.
Well, basically, I'm a Grandmaster Terran player that plays extremely unorthodox. I guess you could say
that's an understatement.
You could say I'm one of the only Terran players out there in the Grandmaster League that actually plays extremely strange, like massing Reapers and things like that, and actually making it work.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think Rob, you were telling me that you went you started off as 2 or 3 Reapers, but then you just kept getting more, and just you were out microing in one of the games in the tournament there. Were you just sniping just everything, just running all around, or?
I guess you could say with StarCraft, something that I enjoy doing is microing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my play is going to be micro-based rather than macro-based. I can play macro, I just prefer not to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. What made you so aggressive as a player? Is this natural? Have you always been like this?
I guess you could say back in Brood War, what I would do is when I used to play the game, at first I wasn't that good either. I would play big game hunters and against computers and things like that.
Right.
But
zero clutter.
Eventually, I wanted to play straight up ladder games, and then for some reason I found ladder games to be a little more interesting. So I wasn't really good with the macro part because I would always end up dying to something silly whenever I tried to expand because I wasn't used to it. So I started microing, and then a lot of times my friends would want to play some UMS games like Micro Challenge, and I found stuff like that a little more interesting rather than customized units and stuff, where you actually take the units with the HP in the game, the damage in the game, and kind of face them off against each other. So because of that, I kind of gotten used to that, But all of that came from Brood War first before I actually did StarCraft 2. And when I came to StarCraft 2, that's what I actually started off with because the hotkeys were a little bit different, and I got lazy and wanted to put everything on the hotkey instead of doing 1A, 2A, 3A like I was doing in Brood War. So at first, I just would macro, and then I'd get a big army and just put them all together on one hotkey and just push in. So that was pretty much my way of playing StarCraft 2 at first in 2010. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my play style, I've always found it interesting to watch Slayer's Boxer.
Right.
Slayer's Boxer was the guy who I always wanted to watch because he would do mass lockdowns on carriers and things like that. And he was actually the one who designed the Reaper Hellion build in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, where you would drop 4 Hellions and then go Reapers in the base. Yeah. It was really hard to stop. It was one of those new builds in 2011. And when I saw him actually still doing some of the old stuff, I was just amazed. I'm like, damn, this is so cool. I want to keep designing newer builds as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my thing. I like to create builds if you give me a race, I could just throw you 100 different builds out there, what I would do. Let's say I'm playing against Terran. I could go Thor drops. I could go Thor through the front. I could go
Thor drops.
Hellion. I could go Mass Reapers. I could go Hellion into nukes. I can go macro.
Yeah, we've seen.
It's
we've seen that.
let me just say, any matchup. But I do have favorite builds that I do like to stick to, but I have maybe 10 to 20 builds per race in my arsenal if I want to use it.
Well, since you said you have favorite builds, what is your favorite build? What's your favorite one? Whether it's just the one that works the best, or the one that you think is the most hilarious, or just whatever you consider your favorite.
Each race?
Just with Terran. You can go each race. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do each race.
All right.
For let's say we're playing against Zerg. I played one Zerg player at the tournament. Yeah. But when I'm playing against Zerg, I usually prefer to macro. As strange as that sounds.
Yeah, we noticed that. It was against
Waffle. I like the macro against because it's kind of hard to one base a Zerg. It's really difficult.
Yeah, if they get that spawning pool.
I prefer to open up with a couple Marines, and then based on the map, I know where the Overlord patterns are, and I go snipe Overlords with those Marines. And then I go ahead and just start macroing again the Hellions, and then usually I prefer mech. Sometimes I'll go bio, not very often, but I usually prefer to go mech whenever I play that.
You're still a fan of mech, even in this day and age, even after the Hellbat nerf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, because the game that we showed that we did last Sunday, it was you against Waffles, and you actually ended up dropping that game to him. Is when he went like a lot of roaches. Did he do the 2-base roach all in, or was he on 3, Rob? I don't remember.
I don't remember either now.
Oh, you mean Paper Boat?
Was it Paper Boat?
Yeah, I think it was Paper Boat.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Captain Waffles. Never mind. Those crazy names.
The first game, I ended up doing a lot of economic damage, and he did the same build, and I ended up winning that. But the second game, I guess you could say I was trying something new by going double reactor Hellion, which is kind of silly because I was hoping he would go Lings after doing Roaches the first game.
Yeah.
And then when I go double reactor Hellion, I have 100 Hellions, I just see 100 Roaches. I'm like,
oh yeah.
That was a great battle to watch, though. Things were just blowing up everywhere.
And then just dropping everywhere in my base, and I'm like, God, I just don't have the... You know, I held on for a good 10 minutes, but...
Yeah, that roach drop.
Too much.
I saw the roach drop coming up top. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It got crazy. All right, so versus Zerg, what'd you say your favorite build was?
Just to go straight in the macro and then the mech.
The macro and the mech. Okay, so now on to versus Protoss.
Versus Protoss, I like to do my 1-1 Marine build. That's basically, it's like a 1 base. The reason I like that build the most is because a lot of Protoss are cheesy. Okay.
Yeah, so, I was watching. Do you see WCS Korea where the guy won to get into the match to go into Premier League by doing a 4-pylon drop cannon rush behind the mineral line?
Oh no! I didn't know that.
Well, his name was Piggy something, but yeah, go ahead.
But I do that build because 1, I wall off instantly. So if they have like a gateway outside of my base, I'm fine. 2, I had someone today try to proxy inside my base. I know the timings to pull the SCVs to kill the gateway. And not set myself behind and let them finish it in chrono while wasting their chronos on it. So that helps me out. Then I can go into that build. And then there's situations where there's oracles. I'll have Marines for the oracles if I do the build. Sometimes I could get a Widow Mine if need be, if I feel like it's coming a little too soon. I could do a timing attack. And I usually kind of bait the Protoss to turn on their Nexus and then run away. And then come back later with the attack. That way, you know.
Yeah.
That's pretty
or if I can't do that, then I'll do like multi-pole drops. Make them waste it a little sooner by doing that. So
that
it's
quick
a Wing of
1-1
Liberty
really,
build, actually.
The quick 1-1, though, really gives you the good advantage.
Of the medevac speed.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah, that dart in with them.
To do it a little bit sooner, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Protoss, RuFF, I'm curious now, after Heart of the Swarm, Protoss has so many more early game options. Have you given Protoss a try?
No, but people say I'd be really good at
it. Well, you know, it seems to fit your style.
Mass oracles at 5 minutes?
Whatever the hell, at whatever time.
You try to pressure, and they just turn that Nexus on. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of... what Blizzard did with the Mothership Core.
Yeah.
Because it really limited a lot of my builds, and now I have to tweak them. And
that Archon toilet bowl was one of my favorite things in the game, I'm not going to lie. Even as playing as Zerg, which I hated it so much, but it was just one of the greatest things in the world to see, especially when it came in like an MLG tournament or something.
Indeed. All right, so I got to ask...
Protoss is winning everything right now.
I got to ask this question, because several people have said it. How often do you hear... basically something to the effect of, if you'd only macro a bit more, you'd be a top 10 GM.
Me? Macro?
Yeah.
He just said that like it was the most obscene idea you've ever said before. Oh, I think I lost sound, guys. Hold on. Hold on a second. Yep, Rob just dropped the call. I didn't even realize that was going on in the back. Now that I can hear it, let me stop that though. Alrighty, so it seems that we've lost our other two casters, our RuFF and right now. So We're just at me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at. Let me tell him that call drop. There it goes. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah. So I don't know if you got a chance to answer the question.
It got cut off. You froze, and then his voice went down. Since you were hosting the call, it all went out.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. I'm using a Mac.
Oh.
Well, you know, what can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question was, if I macroed more, I'd be top 10 GM, right?
Yeah.
True, yes, but I don't know. Like, a lot of my viewers love to just spam, go Thor rush them, do Thor rush. It's like,
No.
I treat them like a little kitten. It's like, I gotta give in. I gotta go ahead and do it.
Oh.
So I do it. You know, but when it comes to macro, like I said, it's not difficult. But macro is very. Once you macro, you're set. The opponent pretty much knows how to transition. Okay.
Yeah.
So if they know how to transition, that means they'll be ready for anything. So I have my micro-based builds where I can go into a macro build, which I like. But the problem is with those, like if they see it or hard counter it or blind counter it, then you're going to be behind, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
But macro-based games, I guess I macro good, but the thing is my hotkeys are not set at a professional level.
I noticed that. I think I've seen maybe 4 or 5 hotkeys you would use at most usually.
Yeah, at most.
And
So
those are all groups of
basically,
units, or
my army hotkey is 1.
Right.
Mhm.
That's it. I don't do ghosts. I don't do Vikings. Everything's going to be on 1. I individually click the units themselves, usually.
wow.
So that's the thing that makes it a little hard for me. Like, I've been so lazy to get into the fact of using the tilde key, which is the one right next to the left of 1, which I customized to be my hotkey for 7.
What does that do?
And basically, it gives me another option because I'm using 2, 3, 4, and 5 for buildings.
Okay.
And I use 0 and 9 for, like, upgrades and nukes.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I lack army hotkeys.
Ah.
So that's my biggest concern is if I were to incorporate that hotkey better and get used to that, and also probably incorporate the F hotkeys because I don't use those either, then
Well,
I probably would be top 10. But I have to get used to it. And see, when I'm trying to get used to it, I'm going to lose a lot of games. And that's what I'm afraid of. So as far as practice partners go, I don't have very many.
I see. So that's kind of what's been holding you back is this fear that you're gonna basically go down a lot in rank or skill while you're transitioning to more hotkeys.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of surprising to hear from a player of your caliber. I mean, you're what, rank 60 GM right now. The only thing holding you back is you don't want to use another hotkey or two. It's kind of amazing.
It's like on my to-do list, I guess you could say. But I always put it off until tomorrow.
So you're
And then when tomorrow comes, I always put it off until tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow.
That's hilarious. Now, when you're coaching somebody, do you recommend they use hotkeys a little more often than you use them? Okay. Yeah.
So whenever I coach them, I tell them, I say, hey, I play the easy way. But if you want to be really good, you're going to want to play this way.
Right.
And I give them the option. I say, hey, look, you know, if you're using like your command center on 5, you know, your racks on 4 and 3, and you're using 1 and 2 for armors, that's pretty damn good for them. But if not, then you'd probably be playing like me, and you'd be at that handicap where you have to actually click individual units, which is not exactly easy to do, but I'm so used to it now that I just do it.
Oh, I mean, it's a good skill to have, but I can't imagine how powerful you'd be if you had
Another
separate
option,
keys.
I think another option for me would be to use the tab key. But I'm not really used to tab. Like, let's say I have a stim, marines, and then ghosts, kind of like tab. So,
Oh, is that your dinner walking by?
probably.
You're not about to get yelled at, are you?
No.
All right.
It'll just get cool.
All right, so I actually wanted to ask you, since you've been to many metropolitan areas now playing StarCraft, with MLGs and whatnot.
Many metropolitan areas.
What do you think of the Tampa StarCraft 2 scene right now? What were your impressions of it?
My impression was it reminded me of the one that I went to in Oregon called the Civil War LAN.
Okay.
And that one was basically you brought your own computer, your own gear, and things like that. And it was a larger based local LAN, rather than going to a LAN center where they already have computers and stuff. Because the LAN centers that I've been to that actually have the computers and things like that have always been relatively small. But the one in Tampa and then the one in Oregon was actually rather large. And the way it was set up was really nice. And when I saw the stream, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool with the casters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to see probably a little more from Tampa E-Sports when it comes to that. And maybe you guys should put it on the calendar on TL. That way you're actually broadcasted on Team Liquid, too.
Indeed, that'd be nice.
That'd be really good. Did you catch both streams or just the master stream? Or
I only saw the master stream for a short second while I was waiting for my grand finals match. That's about it.
okay.
I didn't see much, but when I saw it, I was like, wow, this... I don't know how you guys did it. Do you have like a green screen in the back, or?
Yeah, no. They actually have a TV set up there, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were actually out of state.
Yeah, they own like a LAN center, and I think like their parents own it, and they've got like the separate room set up as a studio, just for streaming all day.
Yeah, and then then me and Alberona were in the back doing the other groups, casting the other groups. So we had like my huge TV set up and blocking out the entire windows and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting setup, but it was a blast for me.
So speaking of streaming, you do stream regularly. What are your normal hours, RuFF, when you're streaming?
My normal hours are like every day. Right
Okay.
now. For now. I think like around August 20th, though, I'm going to be doing school and working again. So I'm going to be stuck to the evenings, which is going to be probably, I'm going to estimate maybe 7 to 10 or 11 Eastern time.
Okay.
But as of right now, it's pretty much any time between probably like 4 in the afternoon to 4 in the morning.
So
Obviously,
a
I
lot.
take breaks to eat or something, but yeah, been playing a lot lately.
That's good. All right. And speaking of school, I don't know if people realize this, but you're a math major, just like Day 9.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Did Day 9 inspire you to go into math major? Or was that your plan to begin with?
It actually was never my plan. I wanted to be an architect, but the college I went to didn't have that, so I decided to go for math because that was what I was good at in high school.
There you go.
But I like the math, though, because it actually helped out a lot for my gaming, and because I use it in StarCraft too. Like, I'll sit there and I'll calculate. I'll be like, okay, well, how can I do something a little more effective? Like, let's say when I'm playing Zerg, let's say a Marine does 6 damage, right? So if a Zergling does 5 damage, if I rush the armor upgrade, it's actually better than combat shields versus Zerglings, which is a bit strange. Like, you could take 12 hits instead of 11 hits. So I think about this stuff. And then if you obviously get combat shields and you have the upgrade advantage, you can take up to 15 hits over 11 hits, which is pretty nice.
I can never.
Medevac's healing you, you know.
We're lucky I remember to build overlords.
That's funny. Now, when I spoke with you in person, you said that you were actually thinking of pursuing a higher level of education in math. Is that still what you're thinking here?
Yeah, it's actually very difficult to find work, like a permanent job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a master's to go ahead and do that. Obviously, I would love to do something in gaming, but it's a little difficult. Plus, the economy is not great for it. Like in Canada or Europe, it'd be pretty good because America's in this deficit. They don't have money to like actually have fun. So you never see any tournaments held very often in America.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to change that.
Yeah, that we're going to try to.
You can try. Go for it.
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck because the first one was pretty damn good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we were a little concerned there the night before where we were up there till midnight, 2 in the morning, trying to get the power situation sorted out, and we only dropped the internet twice the next day, which I was surprised and happy about that it only went down twice with that many 150, 160 computers on it.
Yeah, that was a little bit bigger than even we had planned for, and the next one is supposed to be about 200, 250 people. So
yeah, gonna keep growing, adding in. We still planning on adding in League of Legends?
Yeah, I think so, but let's not talk about that right
That's
now.
not, yeah. So out of all the games out there for esports and all the things that you could be doing, what drove you to play StarCraft as opposed to doing anything else?
Indeed.
Well, like I said, I did play Brood War for a long time. I did get into Guild Wars right after Brood War, and I did play MechWarrior. MechWarrior was a game, my very first game I've ever played.
That's my favorite game on PC.
Computer game base was MechWarrior 2. And then I actually became probably the #1 player in MechWarrior 4 over a period of time.
Yeah.
So, and I used to devise tactics and strategies, and I would say, okay, we're going to flank from this side, you guys are going to be over here. I actually had this geographic interpretation in my head of how the map was set up. And that's the thing about me. I like strategy games. I don't really like hack and slash games. So when I started playing Guild Wars, it was kind of the same thing because you had a skill base, you had to have your own party. But the thing is, when I got Guild Wars 2, it's kind of an upset because you can't really do that anymore. It's just like jump in there and start killing shit. And then I was like, I can't really play this game now. But StarCraft 2 is probably the most recent game that is actually strategy-based that I can actually enjoy, kind of like Brood War.
Yeah.
People have told me to play League of Legends, but I just can't get into it.
No?
Yeah, I played a little bit. Like League of Legends for me is kind of a relaxation. Like I don't really even play too much StarCraft lately, but League of Legends I can just hop on there and act stupid and not concerned about doing well, and I don't get that anxiety that I get like in StarCraft, that feeling when things are getting close to either an attack, if it works or it doesn't work, you're either going to die or win, and that feeling in your stomach. I don't get that with League of Legends.
Yeah, I'm not going to hate on League of Legends, but I feel like StarCraft is a bit more competitive.
Yeah.
A lot harder to play. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
League of Legends, everybody told me, RuFF, you should play it. You'll get 10,000 viewers because how good you are and how unorthodox you are, but can't do it. I just have to stick to StarCraft because I feel like it's a lot more challenging.
Good.
Definitely. That's what I like too.
All right. Actually, RuFF, I wanted to ask you, since you're going to stick with StarCraft, what are your aspirations in the next year?
That was going to be my question too. Yeah, I'm wondering where you go next with this.
Indeed.
I don't know. As you all know, I've been on VVV Gaming, or I was on VVV Gaming before they dropped the StarCraft team. They used to sponsor me to all the MLG events, so I would go to every single open. They pay hotel, things like that. They gave me all the gear I have, like the SteelSeries gear that I have. So my goal is to actually get somewhere. Like something I want to do is play a lot more professionally, like in that. And it's hard to have someone there to tell me about these tournaments. And I'm trying to get onto one of those premier teams, which I'm a bit surprised I haven't gotten onto in a premier team yet, but it's because there's a lot of bad blood from when I was in VVV with playing a lot of these players because I would always kill them on one base or something.
Yeah.
That they really dislike my play style. They feel like I can't macro, so I'll end up losing at tournaments, but I still go to MLG. I still, compete, and I still do well at these events, which is a bit strange.
What's the highest you've made it at an MLG tournament?
Losers Champions bracket.
Losers Champions bracket. Wow.
Top 32. So one game from Championship Series.
Not bad at all. That's very reputable. Very respectable.
And this was the very first MLG. This was 2011 Providence. is the very first MLG where Korean players actually entered the tournament.
Yeah.
That's even more impressive because the Korean players really do put their entirety of their time into this. You know, they're coming over on sponsored teams and they play and live in the house and all that.
I'm actually disappointed in myself for not getting into the StarCraft scene a lot sooner, because when I played Brood War, I never thought about playing competitively, like in tournaments, things like that, or actually traveling, and I never thought about getting on a team. So when I actually did, it was a bit late in the season. Like, you had all these players that were reputable. Like, there were players I wouldn't be able to beat back then. Like, let's say Adra, for example, who was good, or Huck.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that out of all the other American players, I'm like thinking to myself, if I got into MLG back in 2010, I would have made pretty much top 8 or something, because of how the game was back then. Because every tournament I entered online, I would win like $50 here, $100 there, just by playing on these online tournaments, but I never went to any major tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always like win second or first place back then. But nowadays it's extremely difficult, especially as a North American player, because all the Koreans are in these tournaments now, to the point that the North Americans aren't really recognized as much anymore.
No.
Yeah, it seems like if you're not able to get on a team and get that, where you pretty much can dedicate to, you know, like a professional sport where you're practicing in the house with other people and you kind of, you know, living the game, that it's a lot harder to get to that level where some of the Korean players have gotten to.
Yeah. I think WCS now is 15 Koreans and TLO, if I remember correctly, in the top 16.
15 Koreans and TLO.
Yeah.
TLO. The lonely one.
What can I say?
Hey, I beat TL yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
How many ladder games have you played, RuFF? Because your American account has got 13,500 games. And I know you play on EU and Korea.
Let me put it like this. In the past year, I'd say maybe 1,500 games, but majority of my games are in the past 2 months. Let's say 95% of my games, because I have had nothing to do. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. I might as well play StarCraft. You know,
Might as well.
And at least wait until I start working.
Yeah.
When I start working, my games will probably go down, but I'm gonna try to keep it up and play every day.
Okay.
Outstanding. Yeah, definitely send over any interesting replays you come across. I'll be more than happy to cast those when I do my show, or when we do I'm going to start doing that weekly coaches corner like we did last Sunday. It's going to turn into a weekly thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the last question for me is there anybody you'd like to thank today on the stream, or any links you'd like us to share in the Twitch chat or anything like that?
Well, I'd like to thank O Gaming, because they were the ones who actually, let me put it like this, I've been extremely picky with joining teams, and they're probably the ones that dealt with my hassle for the longest time. They would just say, hey, you interested in joining? We have this to offer. And I'm like, give me a little bit. I'm thinking about it. And it took 2 months before I actually joined them, because I was still trying to like get on some kind of premier team. But, you know, what they offered was pretty impressive to me for not being that giant team out there that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And they actually helped me out at Anaheim as well when I did go. So that is something I do recognize, because normally people wouldn't be able to do that unless, you know, you have some manager who is a moneybags. I'd like to thank you guys, because you guys are pretty much helping me out there get my name around.
Good.
You guys hosting that tournament and me taking that risk to go down there actually helped out a lot.
Good.
You know, it was one of those situations where I went down there not because it was something I wanted to do. I did want to, but, you know, driving that far is like one of those things where it's like, you know, I can't really do it. But
I don't even like driving 30 minutes to go to the mall or something.
I was in that situation where it's like, I need to win this. You know, I need to help pay these bills, so I'm going to go down there and win it.
That's good.
That's good motivation.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
It's a StarCraft charity, and
You
we'll
know.
call it a tournament.
yeah.
All right, cool. Let me
since
see.
when do you have anybody trying to jump into these tournaments to pay for their bills? You know, it's like a job now.
Hey, I don't know. I'm sure some people do it. So let me see if there's anybody in the audience that wants to ask a question.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for them to hear for the delay, I got one more thing I wanted to ask you. You said, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to beat? Who do you really want to go out there one day and just crush and then raise your hands in victory as you come out of that little plexiglass penalty booth?
Crush? Man, I really want to say a Korean player, but
Yeah.
they don't really get on my nerves at all. If I had to choose anybody, I wonder.
I can guess who.
I can guess
who
who, too. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to say it either. I was thinking it. I'm like,
But see, the thing is, the players that do annoy me, that I want to crush really badly, I have beaten them before.
Yeah.
So it's not something crazy.
Just not in a
So
public
if I
yet.
had to, I don't think Boxer plays anymore, but I would say Boxer
Yeah.
because he's the guy who just inspired me to play. If I could ever beat him, I'd be like, holy crap,
There you
this
go.
would be awesome.
Yeah, it's like the student beating the teacher, taking down the mentor.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the next generation. All right, so we do have a question from the audience.
From
NanoCloud. He wants to know what your favorite SC2 player is, which I think we already know now.
Yeah.
Ah, NanoCloud. God, I hate him. Him and his buddies went on my stream for the longest time, like sniping me. It was not.
Yeah, he's lolling right now in the chat.
I'm not a troll. What are you talking about?
I think he even got Clarity Gaming Bales to snipe me. But
wow.
Who is my favorite SC? Oh, you guys should already know.
Well, since Slayer's not playing anymore, let's change that to your
okay.
favorite current player.
Yeah.
Flash.
Flash.
Yeah. This is my favorite dude.
Surprisingly, I'm going to be like the normal person out there. I'm going to say Flash. Just because that guy is crazy. He never loses in Brood War, and when he came into StarCraft 2, he's like pretty much like one of the top players already.
Exactly.
I've never seen that before, even from a professional player coming out of Brood War, to actually catch on that fast.
He is a machine.
He's literally the Flash.
Nano throwing you some love. All right, so any other questions? We'll give you a couple more seconds. Is there anything that you want to say, any advice to players coming up that might be stuck in the silver or gold leagues, as to, how to get out of that rut and how to get up where you are?
The biggest thing is probably hotkeys and micro. Not so much macro. Like everybody can sit there and macro. Like most players will macro, but they just won't get out of those leagues doing it. They actually have to understand how to. Macro is good. You have to do it behind microing. But if you just throw your units in there, like let's say there's Colossus, you have Bio, they all get evaporated. Then you're like, oh my god, fucking Protoss is OP.
You switch to
Like
Protoss,
I'll never get out of this league now. But if you can be creative and actually micro, even if you're racking up like 2K, if you're sitting there killing shit with one unit like a Banshee, you're not going to be behind,
Yeah,
That's something I've learned back when I wasn't that good, but I was still good at microing. I would have like 3K minerals in my base, but I'd have one Banshee with like 50 kills. And then I would just be like, oh, okay, here's 100 barracks. Let me go ahead and make units now and finish them.
There you go.
But
That's kind of how I do it with Mutalisks. I'll harass my Mutalisks the mineral line back and forth until I just have, enough to...
Keeping your economy up in microing. So that basically means hotkeying.
So playing the game perfectly.
Jumping between 1, 2, and 3.
If Day9 was listening to the stream right now, he'd be like, no, macro and micro.
Like, I know everybody's going to probably disagree with me, but that's what I say.
You can't disagree with proven success. I mean...
No, especially in the lower leagues. I think the micro dominates.
Yeah.
Let me just say, when StarCraft 2 came out and I was playing like Adra and some players, like the first time I ran into Adra, I was like, all I was doing the entire time was going 2 racks before the supply depot. That's all I did.
2 racks
against every player, and I would bunker rush. And I got to Diamond League, which was the highest back then, just doing only that.
That's ridiculous.
See, if you can be super cheesy and you're really good at it,
Yeah.
eventually you'll learn the macro part of the game. But you already have the micro down.
There you
At
go.
least in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's just from experience.
Maybe that's my problem. I never really focused on micro. I've always focused on macro and getting 3 bases up and all that. I never really tried to micro, so I'll have to give that a shot. See if that can't help me out. Help me get going.
I definitely say try it. See what happens.
He only said, "Since when do you only make 1 Banshee?" It beast.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you're always going to make one after it. Like
Yeah.
that's the simplest TBT build is to rush Banshee and then just use 1 Banshee to keep sniping off units, whether it's Marines, even if they have a turret in their base, because what you're doing at home is still making units.
Exactly.
And you're killing off their army. Like that's probably the simplest build anybody can probably do. Is just microing like that and then building the force and pushing out and finishing the enemy. But obviously it's going to be at a higher extent. The way I'm playing right now.
Yeah. Your APM is just a little bit, higher than mine. Not by much, just, a lot.
That's funny.
I'm surprised I'm not a random player though.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Brood War, I played every race. I was best with Zerg, surprisingly, because I macroed a lot in Brood War. I'd go 3 base right away with Zerg. But with StarCraft 2, because Wings of Liberty was only Terran-based campaign, I just got used to Terran, and then I just didn't want to play anything else, and I was like, crap. And I started playing the other races. I'm like, man, I suck with these races. So then I just stuck with Terran the entire time, which I think was a good thing, because usually when you go random, it's very difficult to be really good at the game.
Yeah.
Normally you have to focus on one race. But I do kind of wish I went the random route.
Just so you
just
could have
because
more.
I think I'd be... Because people are already trying to guess my Terran builds. Imagine if they're trying to guess my Zerg or Protoss builds.
What build is he doing? Instead of one race with 20 opening builds that are all heavy, micro-focused harassment, now you have 3 races with 20 builds each. Now you have to guess between one of 60 builds to try and figure out what you're doing, and I think they just, Idra rage quit right from the, game start.
I can't believe
I do get that a lot on ladder though. Like I'll play some players and when I beat them once and then I queue up and I run into them again, they just leave.
Really?
I'm like free win. There we go.
Hey, that's one way to get your ladder points up. They just like I don't even want to deal with this. I'm out.
I always make fun of it on my stream and I'm like, oh, I built the SCV before him, so I win.
That's all.
All right, man. It doesn't look like we have any more questions in chat. Was there anything you want to say before we close down the interview portion of this?
No, that's about it.
All right.
For everybody who is actually watching the stream, thanks for checking it out and listening to my little bit of history.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, if you could like us on Facebook, RuFF, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Tampa E-Sports.
Yeah, that way we can
sure.
communicate with
Just
you.
gotta link me up there.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm supposed to link it to him. It should be on the. Yeah, never mind. I thought it was on the link was on the overlay.
Tampa E-Sports.
All right, so to everybody else still out there listening, me and Rob are going to continue on and take a look at this game that RuFF did send over to us. We're going to see an interesting game. You said it was 7 base versus 4 base. You said was the title of it, RuFF?
Yeah, 4 base
Pretty
7.
much. Basically, let's just say everything gets mined out except the 2 bases, and I was on 4, and the Zerg mined out 6, and I'm pretty much battling between my bases that he's trying to steal, and I managed it.
Because he's out of money, so he's trying to steal your bases to mine more. All right, so everybody
I'll show you some late game Zerg action. This is basically what it's
Well, some late game RuFF action. That's rare enough.
That is very rare. There you go. All right, so everybody's still watching. Right there in the middle. That's RuFF. Follow him on Twitch TV. RuFF13. Is that RuFF13?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Twitch TV RuFF13. Follow him. Watch him stream when he does his streams. Shadow over there. Underneath is twitch.com/
No, that's just Twitter.
Oh, that's your Twitter. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he posted his Twitch in the chat, so just scroll up. And then, as always, I am Shinigami right there down below. right there. Twitch TV, ShinigamiTV. Follow us. Please like onto us. Help us, to grow the Tampa E-Sports brand and spread out throughout the rest of the state and just take over and get all sorts of gamers involved and have all sorts of fun.
RuFF, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's no problem. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to get off of that screen and go into that screen. And we'll just go into that while we're setting this up. All right, Rob's
And
going
I
to
have
queue
no
up the
idea how to
game.
hang up Skype.
You have no idea. Well, he's going to hang up. He can just leave the call.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just leave Skype going, and when he's ready to roll out, if he doesn't want to listen to us anymore, he can roll out. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So, did you just end the call too? You rat bastard, Rob. Rob. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm not quite a Skype master here.
All right, so we're going to jump into this game and take a look at what we got. I'm going to check on the sound levels while you do that. Folks in chat, why don't you throw me how's the sound going? I know I had some issues there, but I think I fixed everything.
And make sure you archive this.
Yeah, I'll do the highlight and I'll upload to YouTube.
Very cool.
Like I did with the last one. And once I do the highlight, it'll be archived.
Okay. And I don't know if they have like an auto leveler or anything, so you can just kind of smooth out the sound.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm adjusting it, manually on all my different sound things because you guys were really low and I was really high, and I think I've fixed it because nobody said anything about it in a while. So.
All right. So when you're ready, I'm gonna go ahead and hit watch.
Go for it. All right, so that's what the Grandmaster emblem looks like. It's all shiny and pretty, and so wait, he's going up against someone that's in top. That's top 5, isn't it? That's the top 5 emblem on there in GM, in the league.
Yeah, higher rank than he is.
Yeah, so higher rank than he is. In Alkaline Waste, and it's Alkalite Bit S. Oh, Alkalite Bits. I don't know. Alright, so there's the Zerg, and let me close that down and switch to that. I hope that's the right one. We'll see here in a second. Yep, there we go. Yep, that's it. Okay.
Why are there 2 RuFFs?
Why are there 2 RuFFs?
I think I watched on one stream. There was another guy named RuFF. That he named his Smurf account RuFF.
Oh, that ain't right. I bet it's you know who. Trying to slander his name some more.
Silly.
Yeah.
He did it a lot. Like, I think that's how Marine King started. Actually, is he would name himself Boxer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Because when he first started playing in the pros, he was still Boxer. He was and then he changed it to Marine King or whatever. Starting off as a troll.
So apparently, I'm too quiet.
You're too quiet. All right, let me fix this. Mixer. Ba-doo. All right, how about now? Try and say something.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Balls of steel.
All right, let me know how that balls of steel sounded. And he's echoing. Yeah. I don't know why the echoing is going on. Audio settings are maxed out.
Was it echoing during the interview?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I was adjusting it as I could. It's my microphone. For some reason, my microphone is picking up my headset. Like it's coming out as my headset. I don't know what's going on with that.
Alright. So we're going to go ahead and pause it real quick until we can figure out the sound.
Alright, so let me try.
Balls of steel. Hopefully somebody gets that.
Let me try changing the microphone